My name is Rhapsody. His name is sneakyteak, and welcome back to Ladder Streak for another week. How's it going, bud?
It's going awesome. I'm stoked to be here. I'm ready for the epic follow-up.
Oh my
We've
God.
got so much time to stew on our runs now since we're doing these every other week that by the time I get back, I'm ready to rumble.
Which,
fully.
to be clear, to say it at the top of an episode rather than the end of the episode as well, Rhapsody Ladder Streak and Rhapsody Take a Peek alternate weeks. You see?
I was trying to think of what the rhyme was for the logistics. Rhapsody Ladder Streak and Rhapsody Take a Peek alternate weeks because it's so chic. It's on fleek.
It's the future's
Otherwise
not
we
bleak.
The future is not bleak this way. That's clear.
There was actually something going on in my Discord a while ago, which was, I think, maybe 3 full days, maybe about a half week of people just alternating different versions of Rhapsody and then setting up a scenario for us. Rhapsody the ornithologist, Rhapsody identify beaks, things like that. You know, just like a lot of them.
It's
they
not
were
even
all
a sitcom.
Gems.
It's like the prompt is, imagine that you have the components of a sitcom, but instead of making a sitcom, you need to generate an entire universe out of it. It's like we're the two multiplayer beings of this, you know, the YouTube verse of Rhapsody scenario. Man, that's funny. I didn't see that.
Man, I'm really feeling quite good about the kind of branding we've lucked our way into. It's just
pure luck. It
rolls
totally
off
is.
the tongue perfectly.
It does. I'm happy with it. Yeah.
Now,
but yeah, that's been, so just to reaffirm what Rap said, these episodes are anything from 2 to 6 hours. We've learned Rhapsody Take a Peek is also in that same range, and they're both fairly labor intensive. So we're alternating weeks for now, but I think we're both super open to coalescing those again in the future. It's just we would rather take the time to make it right than try to rush them both out the door. So this is what we do.
I find a lot like of my I find the situation where I am trying to keep myself to a certain schedule or a certain ideal and failing it always feels much worse than just breaking that and going, okay, fine, just split these up into 2 different weeks, and then I'm succeeding at that instead of failing at something else.
Yeah. And then you have a chance to up the bar. This is like fundamental human psychology, right? Is that we reinforce better when we're winning. And so sometimes the right thing to do is to just redefine winning. Just make a new target. Just set a new goal and beat it so that you're setting a stronger baseline, right? I had to change my start time for the same reason just a few weeks ago because I could never hit 7 p.m. It just did not work at all for me. And so I changed my start time, and now I'm still late, but I'm closer. And that's good. That's progress.
It is. It's progress in the right direction.
We take these. Yeah.
We're making progress in the right direction in the old streak here as well. We've got Watcher on my side, Ironclad on yours. We're on Ascension 4, so bosses will be deadlier. Let's embark. We'll see what this run holds for us.
Embarqué.
Oh. And now I finally have my other monitor, so I can just see your run over on the left-hand side.
You can just see it?
Out there. It's full
gosh.
screen. It looks like I'm watching your stream, basically.
It's really exciting, actually, to have 2 runs going. You kind of feel like you're in the Matrix. Part of me wants to do a behind-the-scenes series, you know, to where, like, I actually fly to Australia and we camera behind us, and so you can see what it is that we watch. Because I think it would be really like an empathy building experience for people to see what it's like to sit in the chair and stare at like 16 things while playing a video game.
It has started to feel like air traffic control. It's starting to get in that realm. Although I immediately thought
gesturing into the air. What are you doing? Oh, I'm moving the threads. Excuse me. Oh wow, that one's very tight. We better, yeah.
It's just playing an invisible theremin consistently. I can just imagine the visual setup for that as well, by the way. Like, we start in scenes like this, and then I'm like, oh man, I can't find that paperclip, and then you just like leave your space and just walk behind me, and you're like, oh, here it is, and just hand it over, and then sit back down, and we never mention it for the rest of the episode.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Oh gosh, dude. Yeah. Oh, that kind of situational comedy, it gets me. Okay. Speaking of a comedy,
I
we're
love
gonna make
not
a farce
acknowledging a joke. Let's make
out
the
of this
absolute
fire.
farce of this. We've got the Guardian up at the very end as well. Hell yes.
Which means both of us do have one. So I used to talk about, you know, goals and drag metrics as a product manager. And the drag metric is basically like, you're not trying to move this forward, but you need to make sure it doesn't go backwards, right? And Guardian sets a really important drag metric all the way up to and through Ascension 20, which is be careful to not arrive in this fight without some mechanism to consistently block for 5 to 15 every turn. It's very easy to do with these two characters, to just pick a bunch of attack cards in order to smork your way through the elites and then to show up in Guardian and die, unless you can win the fight really fast, right? So that's something I'll have in the back of my mind this whole act is, how do I make sure that in the vein of killing 3 elites, I don't accidentally die to Guardian? Because I've certainly done it many times.
I've done that a lot as Silent without poison, where I get there and I'm like, man, I got a lot of ships. Oh dear.
Yeah. Oh, these starts are really good. That's just an empty cage.
One
of us just gets an empty cage.
Do you want to lose your starting relic to get an empty cage, or just get an empty cage?
Just get an empty cage, exactly. Honestly, I don't see a strong, compelling reason to boss swap here, considering that the options are so good. But like, if you're feeling spicy, Watcher can boss swap pretty consistently, but it does make your game different. You know, it can make it more complicated.
Yeah, I'd want to upgrade Eruption really early if I was doing that.
I would be inclined to take either of these, and I'm perfectly happy with just a common relic. I'm always surprised by how much of a jump start that is.
Yeah, because I'm probably going to build my block core out of non-block cards.
Okay.
Like cards that affect block rather than say block on them. So I think maybe the more consistency of removing 2 cards from my deck might benefit me.
Watcher, for what it's worth, I think that Watcher loves removal. The one character that I can sometimes actually build a 24-card deck and win with is Watcher. I say sometimes because I am still me, but yeah, she loves to have a tight deck. And especially like if you're not finding any sources of wrath, you need to stretch that eruption out, right?
Yep, more consistency in knowing that I'm probably or certainly going to have my exit for this in the next hand, things like that.
Yep.
It helps because I've often described Watcher as like thinking a couple turns ahead a lot of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally it.
It allows you to do that with more accuracy, I feel. Just one of the contributing factors.
I'm trying to chart paths a bit.
Let's have a look at your screen.
Because I think that we're pretty close to settling on, I'm going to take a common relic and you're going to take removal.
Yep.
There's some pretty strong paths here. That's a ridiculous one. That's 4 fires and 2 elites, including an empowered elite right at the end. That's a sick path. It would be almost criminal for one of us to not take that. It has one problem, which is that it doesn't have the most elites that you could theoretically take, right? Like, here's 4. if you want to take 1 fire right at the very end, right? But there's some more reasonable 3s, I think. I think I saw more
like starting 1 over to the right of where you just started for that second line. So you'd start at that fire for the first upgrade, then you go to that elite, then you cut back like over to the left, and then you go further up.
Yeah.
In fact, you get 2 empowered elites on your screen doing that.
I know, and that's totally
3 rest,
ridiculous.
3 elites.
And if anyone could do it, I mean, either of us could do it, but Watcher sure can blow up some Act 1 elites. And we haven't gotten to tougher elites yet, so they still have slightly lower health.
And there's a shop that sits on either side of starting that path, so you can buy an aggression card if you desperately need it, and sometimes it's Windmill Strike, and sometimes you need it.
Oh my gosh, you have a very clear memory of our last week. That's awesome.
It was that exact moment of like, oh, you have to buy it, just do it. Or rather, you didn't have to buy it because you took the one in the previous store. You would have had to buy it if you hadn't. But,
we knew, and we were right. We were totally right. I'm wondering. This is so funny because the thing that I'm struggling with is I see several incredible paths for 1 player, but this is the first map that I've looked at to where it's like, I don't really fully understand where 2 players are going, right? And maybe the answer is one of us just goes left. 2 fires, 2 elites, decent path, and that keeps the right side open for someone to take 2 to 4.
I think that you've already identified 2 good paths. So let's take us back to my screen for this.
And you just don't. So it's I think I know where you're going.
Yeah. One person does all that, and then the other person does this. So both people are getting their empowered elite on the first floor, and then you can even take the rest if you really want to over here, and then you even take an event if you want to, and then jump back off.
So we both take 2. Nobody's getting 3 or 4.
You're getting
very
3
dense paths.
Well, in my mind, I'm taking the leftmost path here. You're going for this one.
More. Okay.
Oh wait, no, that's not 3.
Upgrade density?
That's not 3. Yeah, the reason I wanted the left-hand side is for the higher upgrade density, so that I could upgrade eruption on the first floor.
Heard. Yeah, and before the fights. No, I think this works quite nicely. I think this works really well, and I think that they're about equal difficulty and power, so I'm happy to do that. I'm comfortable with 1 less upgrade. Also
removes a kind of like pathing consideration we have to make on future floors, because we'll both have our emeralds.
Yep, true. True that. That opens us up. Okay, let's go. I got a dream catcher. Remember, basic class card is not strikes and defends.
Yeah.
This would remove my bash, and I think this removes your eruption. Or it might remove your vigilance. It's a nasty one.
God, both of these are actually quite nasty.
Yeah, these are pretty gnar. Is there any world where I can afford to lose bash, actually?
Yeah. I'm honestly thinking about that.
It's pretty important.
It's deeply, deeply important. Your Gremlin Knob fight goes down the tubes without it.
But, we are Ascension 4. We are before elites are tougher. And if I am going right, which I think is very reasonable, I can have 4 card looks and a shop and potentially another card look from Dreamcatcher. That plus potion purchase, and I'm pretty confident that I can take out 1 elite. The question is, could I take out 2?
You have a bailout path, at least.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't have to take any. You know, I can go all the way left. Let's stick to this. I'll lose my bash. I'm so scared of that, but we'll make it work. I believe that I'll find a way out.
Yeah, you got this. You got this. Meanwhile,
find a way out.
I'm gonna take an extra question mark. Whoa. Oh dear.
Uh-oh. What?
I need to somehow change the position of these. I think I have the wrong one of them loaded. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
I can't change that live. Okay, here's what we're gonna do for this episode. This is just coming down here. It's just coming down here. And
then we'll flim it between?
Vaguely correct. There we go.
Don't look behind the curtain. You know, honestly, I'm kind of glad that we have that, because it helps to show off just how much shenanigans we go through to make these look super clean. Now, don't think about it in the future, okay? Don't ruin your experience by considering the pain, the blood, sweat, and tears, but, you know, for now.
Do not focus on the man behind the mask.
That's right.
All right.
Just know that they exist. Yeah, you just click the fear no evil, right? Especially with your deck being smaller. That
exactly.
Seems,
oh my god.
Stonks.
8-card deck again. Cool.
Whoa. Whoa, you're Stance Revolution already. Yo, your deck is nuts. Okay, I'm the weak player here, to just clarify my role. I'm certainly the weak player here.
We're trading off weeks for that. Oh my god.
So much so that I think that I take a Wild Strike over a Shrug It Off, just to have a card that says do a lot of damage. I kind of like early Wild Strike too. It can be the bailout that you need.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad. Okay.
It's not ideal, but it could be worse.
It's not a slap in the face with a wet fish.
That's right. This fish is at least crispy.
My god, we're just getting masterclass cards for this character. Just not even gonna acknowledge that one.
Oh my gosh, the regret. It's still there. We have to like clear it. We need to do a secret run. to where we just spam runs until we can get the regret out. We'll put like a wish in there. How did this get here? Oh, so strange. Nobody
Honestly, not a half
expected
bad
this.
idea.
So it's
Thinking about that
Ascension
heavy
4.
blade? Or the flex?
I'm thinking about this flex.
Ooh.
I'm taking a flex right now. I'm a heavy blade havoc flex. Because especially without the bash, I can focus on taking, you know, fairly cheap entries.
Mm-hmm.
I think the flex is going to be sick. Heck yes. It already played a role.
Yeah, I like a good early flex.
Yeah, and I should have opportunities for upgrades. Oh, baby. 11 cards, pick up a flex, offered a sword boomerang. Hard to say no to the fire breathing with a wild strike in the deck. But
How often do you
think that's
realistically find that you take a fire breathing?
pretty often these days, it's good. Card's good. Especially at Ascension 20 because you've got one card in your deck already, which triggers it, which is your Ascender's Bane.
Mm-hmm.
It's an automatic counter to certain fights, like Fire Breathing is fantastic for Slime Boss, it's fantastic for Hexaghost, it's fantastic for Tri-Sentries. And with as much power as it has now, taking Evolved as a draw source has become quite good. And that opens up like half of Ironclad's card pool, or, you know, a fourth, more realistically, right? So, no, I really like current Fire Breathing. There's a card that I like a lot.
We'll do it to it.
I didn't know if you would take the empty mine. Your deck is quite small. You're close to being able to... I didn't know where you would go there, but I think fasting makes your Guardian fight much better. Oh, Flurry too? Nice.
Yeah, it's the flurry that makes me want to do it because I'm on the verge of a Stance Revolution deck that generates its energy just by doing that and generates value just with the low-cost cards it plays alongside it. I wouldn't be surprised if I took it just lucky. I'd take it.
Fasting is... I have a store here too if we want to do the super dense store decisions.
Love it.
But yeah, no, fasting. Well, I've given my spiel on fasting. We'll see what it does. Watch how it affects block. That's going to be the thing that I don't talk about enough, but that is a really big deal. Kimex, no!
Ooh.
Okay. This is an exciting store, though.
Ooh. It is.
There's a lot of really good and important things here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a pitch. If you're happy to hear it.
Yeah, I'm ready. Here's my deck for those who haven't heard the picks. Flex, Wild Strike, Sword Boomerang, no bash.
Panacea, Firepot.
Oh my. Oh my. Just go in on the permaflex?
Mm-hmm. Hey, 4 strength for 0 energy, 2 cards played. One of them can deny some other effect, like your Hex and such. The
deck is pretty small right now. Those kinds of plays are too cute at Ascension 20 with a 30-card deck, but we're at Ascension 4. I can realistically set these things up in the first 2 turns consistently. I miss the removal, but like, yeah, hell yeah. If we get those both upgraded, that's potentially 8 strength at 0 energy.
Damned powerful.
I think I like it. I think I like it a lot. Question is, at this point, do I have the right things to just go to an event over a hard pull fight? I think the answer is yes. With all this health, too, I would love to find Shining Light or something. That would be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my.
Ooh. That's a Shining Light that occurs every 2 turns, friend. Oh, but worried about the future?
I don't think so. I don't think so. With these potions, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I am worried about Guardian. But... because, like, I don't have any guaranteed removals before end of Act. I have to carry this pain into Act 2. That can kill a run. Absolutely. But I think I can do it.
I think we can try and find you a path to be able to get a merchant relatively early next fall.
I can achieve this, right? I think so.
I was off my screen when I picked up the toy Ornithopter.
Oh, you've got a toy Orno. Oh, your setup is nice. Can we get you on 3 elites? Can we get you on more elites somehow? Where are you at?
I don't think
you're on your first elite right now.
No, I just finished my first elite.
Oh, wow.
A couple spaces ago.
I didn't even get to see it.
Yeah.
You're cruising. You're absolutely cruising, dog.
It's honestly like
you were like, I'm
going
to make it a point that it's not 6 hours. No, I know. Your setup is great, and you had pure boons, right? No real penalty. Yeah, your setup is fantastic. Well, I'm meandering into my first elite fights, which might be fun to see because I don't have bash, so it'll be a little different than standard fare.
Sure. I'm just gonna.
And I did upgrade flex. Yeah.
Card.
And I should have watched your screen because knowing that this was tri-centuries might have encouraged us to buy a cleave. But I think that's fine because of Firepot. Yo, Deus, prostrate, evaluate.
It's Deus or prostrate here.
I think it's just Deus. And the reason I think it's Deus is your awkward slump is dealing with fasting while you clean your deck up, dealing with those turns to where you're like a little behind on energy, dealing with turns where you get voided by Awaken One or something.
Mm-hmm. This is heavily covered by colored rather by how much I just like Divinity, which that's a bias beyond reasonability.
But you have one of the best cards for it. You have Wallop. Wallop is an absolute. I'm always talking about backdooring into Divinity, and it's more and more. I think that actually Wallop is kind of a backdoor into Divinity, and that in some ways fasting may be too, because you're going to be starved for energy. So why not make 3 of it? It's so hard to take an unupgraded prostrate. This card in your deck, even at a small size like 11 cards, it's effectively a curse. You know, it's like sometimes blocking for the fact that you have fasting makes it much easier to take. Because it's blocking for 8, right?
Yeah, that's the big consideration, real. Right? It's 0 energy. I'm deprived a little of energy here, but the thing is, prostrate gets better as I take more cards. Deus Ex Machina helps me over the slump that I am currently in. And
Miracles retain. That's a big deal. Miracles retain, so they can set up turns, but
my concern here is just I want to take this, but I should take this. I'm going to take this.
No. You have. Oh, you did? Okay. I had convinced myself you could take prostrate there, actually, especially with Guardian at the end. But the Deus will be nice.
I'm gonna get it somehow. Is it gonna be in this store? Maybe. But before that, we'll see.
Mental Fortress. Mental Fortress is the first thing that popped out to me in that store.
Yeah.
Mental Fortress is sweet.
Extremely.
Okay, I think that we need to be fairly aggro because pain is pain.
Yep.
And this sets me up to just get a Firepot on turn 1, which feels reasonable, except... Is there any world where I'm taking another elite? This elite is still here.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I didn't take that line.
I thought elites... Oh, that's my line.
Yeah, I've got my Emerald Elite upcoming.
And that's an empowered elite, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially since they're not doing 3 days as yet, I'm wondering if I should try to save the Firepot.
How effectively can you? So, Wild Strike is 12. You've not secured your strength on turn 1, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
So that backline damage. What's the backline damage right now? Yeah, I think you can save the pot because you can kill with 2 cards that backliner relatively consistently. 3 cards in a pinch.
Exactly. And I have then Blood Potion to try to make up some of that loss. I mean, we're going to take 35 damage in this fight, 40. But we'll get 'em.
Upgrade!
The tongs, baby. We tong now.
Oh, man.
This is such an incredible relic, right? It's just the pain cost. It can be huge.
Oh,
there's no doubt.
It upgraded the only defended hand. Giving you, oh my god, perfect.
Times are good. Times are good. This will be a pretty sweet deck, actually, if we can take it all the way.
So what you come in with, like 78?
Yeah, something like that. Pretty close to max.
Mm-hmm.
So
strength.
It comes down to this turn, and often does against Tri-Centuries, right? Do you draw a block card? Because each turn is a potential 10 loss.
It always feels bad when it's like, this is the turn you're attacking, I only drew attack cards and I can't kill you. This is the turn you're defending, I drew all my defense.
This was the other reason to not use a potion. We knew this was coming. We knew this was coming, right? And I just didn't even think about that. And then I think I take a cleave and that secures my damage profiles, right? Sword Boomerang, cleave, and then we're Gucci.
Yeah, having a little bit of AoE, having a cheap AoE card especially is quite good there.
Let's solve your store.
I've got an immediate feel on this store, and it's like ceramic, mental fortress, runaway, laughing.
You buy the ceramic fish?
It's 9 gold. It only cost me 141. What if I took a speculative Chem X? I could hand that to you at some point, or Or
I want it.
it could be
I'm gonna whirlwind
Contra
Chemex
Blade.
speedrun. Yeah. Have you ever bought ceramic fish?
No.
Are you trolling?
Yes.
No, you've never bought it, right? Because you have to get so many cards to pay for that.
Yeah,
It's theoretic. I mean, it's not
gonna
even
be
really that ridiculous, right?
doing
It's
it.
something like 20 cards. You can get like 20 cards. The problem is that the time value of money, right? It's like you'll get there eventually, or you could have just spent the money on the Ferrari. Instead, you'll eventually get a really nice jalopy.
Yeah,
One of these days.
It's an investment, and I don't know if it keeps up with the rate of inflation.
Right, exactly.
That's
well put.
Honestly, I'm
I love
actually
this mental
feeling
fortress for what
pretty-
it's worth.
Yeah, that's coming into the deck. There's no discussion about that one. That's just happening. I'm feeling pretty good about this Chemex, actually. The more that I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I would love a Miracle Plus. Anything with X, and if I don't get it, I'll give it to you.
Do it, because I'm gonna find a whirlwind, I'm gonna pick it up, and we're gonna do double speedrun decks.
Hell yes.
We just have to make sure that we don't accidentally speedrun our grave in the hard fight. But I think we'll be okay.
Fingers crossed.
Easy to speedrun to the grave.
God, a transform too? All right. I'm gonna need you to give me all of your luck for this, because we're removing a strike. If I get something that synergizes with Tantrum, if I get something that tantrums with the synergy with the deck Tantrum, it'd be particularly Tantrum, good Tantrum. I want Tantrum. I'm done with subtlety now.
You got to get the prostrate. You've got the prey now. That's not the best card that I've ever imagined you finding, but we'll take it. Max HP Gremlin. So am I going to have a max HP Gremlin? Because that's kind of scary, actually.
I am not certain, unfortunately. Ooh, baby.
Fortunately, indeed. At least I have good pot ions. That feels nice.
Oh, it's nice, mate.
It feels real nice.
I'm getting out of here with no damage taken, so I feel pretty good about this. Oh, I was getting out of here with no damage taken. You!
I guess you're blocking.
You gremlin nerd!
Oh my god!
I'm getting out of here with no damage taken, Teak. No buts about it!
Oh my gosh. I took as much damage in this random hallway fight as anywhere else. We made it through. Rhapsody.
Jump across to see what this is. Yes.
I think I have a plan.
You are going all Clash, and I'm ready for it, right?
Plan is make strength for free, keep it, heal with it. Oh, did you not get a Maw Bank?
I didn't get mine from the chest. I got my my Ornithopter from the chest.
Right, because I was ahead because of the Dream Catcher from the... Right.
Yes, indeed.
Well, here's my bash, so that's good.
I'm glad that it's there. That's
No
what I'm
lie.
gonna say. Looking at this.
No lie. No Panacea live yet, but we can just flex to do damage, and we should.
I think you should, yeah.
I think we're gonna get there with Fire Pot without having to use the Blood Pot, and that feels nice. I think we're gonna get there. Oh, we really wanted the upgrades to be
18. Sword goes 4 instead, right? Yeah. Yeah, you've got it.
nice. Nice, and this makes it easier to get a good phase change. I should not click so fast. That's such a habit. Oddly
No,
Smoothstone is cool to see.
It is totally fine. Do you? I'm interested. I don't have a... Oh, but do you? Because I find I often end up in situations where I really appreciate a card and I overpick it because of that, and then the deck has too much density on that, and I've got a hand with 5 flexes and no whirlwinds in it, something like that.
The reason that I think we can have 2 flex is that dramatically increases the rate that we're able to lock one in the first time, right?
Every
And
attack
I
card you
think
drafted wants one now.
Yes, absolutely, and that's how it's going to stay. I'm only removing from here pain and finding more things to... What I need from here... This deck is pretty close to in-game damage, which sounds ridiculous, but it really is true, especially with 3 potion slots. What we're missing now is consistent and burst block. We may not need a lot of it because we could find Limit Break and just play Reaper Pogo. That's possible. But like something like an impervious or a panic button would go so far to securing our Act 2.
Yeah, that is the huge thing between you. Because, like, you know, getting Reaper in first hand
right now, by the way?
against an enemy. I am at a Curio right now, yeah.
You are? Okay.
These are my sendables.
Oh my god, the Chem X is there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It is. So I'm just waiting to see if you get a whirlwind.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, you were saying?
Getting Reaper in the first hand against, like, the Gremlin fight, and then your flex out of order with Panacea and things like that. Like, yeah, the burst block is going to be needed for the worst case scenarios. Pogo is nice, but not if you die before it happens.
Exactly. It's part of the reason why also, if we're going to play that, like, it's going to be important to keep both of us alive, because one of the most important elements of playing Pogo is max HP, actually. Yep. You need health to be able to hold, so...
We want to find a max health relic to pass back and forward. That would be so damn good for that.
Super strong for us, absolutely.
Let that relic be your feed.
Heal. I'd love to get the Reaper heal, but I think we just want to win here.
Yeah.
And then maybe get a rest and just look at a card via... Oh, okay. There's our rest.
You want to thin the deck down even more?
It's funny. I think so. Especially with Guardian, I think True Grit is the play. Yeah. You've got a pain going on. Like, True Grit becomes more sword boomerangs in longer fights. Mm-hmm. And in shorter fights, I think we're good for now.
I think
I
also...
agree with that decision.
Like, you're an 18-card deck right now. It is not inconceivable that the best card that you find after the boss fight is Limit Break. And as soon as I see Limit Break and a Flex with Panacea or anything like that in the deck, I'm like, okay, how can I get as many of these played as consistently as possible and then just end the fight with Reaper? It makes Pogo so much easier.
Face trade.
Ooh. How do you... We've probably talked about this event in terms of...
Let's talk about it again.
I think... Okay, let me go with a spicy take. Let me go hard out immediately. I think there are 2 events in Slay the Spire that I think are... Man, I don't want to say the word objectively, but as close to objectively as I can. Not good.
Okay.
One of them, I just encountered, note for yourself. I don't like things
Although
that
it can be hilarious.
persist between runs. It can be fun and it can be interesting and it does stuff like that. I'm glad that it's disabled at higher
It's just
Ascensions,
the randomness with which you see it and the fact that it doesn't show up at A20. So you see it and it's like, here's my regret. I left myself, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. The amount of times I'll just store a bad card in it and then you know the rest of my future is not wanting to take that bad card and just being like, oh, why was the event here? And then the second...
Is the other one Boss Portal?
No. The second is this. So
really?
The reason the second is this in my mind is it does one thing that, or rather, it has a possibility of doing a thing that I will never roll the percentage chance of, almost ever. And that is, you give me the Gremlin Visage, and I am always weak on turn 1. I heavily care about front load.
It's interesting.
Unless I've got like a super defensive deck with poison or something like that.
Yep.
I often just won't roll it because I don't want very specifically the 20% chance of picking that up.
That's fascinating.
I feel like one of the best ways, and this is exemplified in Lot's Hungry Face, actually. I think when you're a game designer and you're designing for someone's experience, right? It is much better to punish someone by not giving them something than it is to take something actively away from them, especially if they don't have the ability to get that thing back.
Omission instead of actual cancellation, veto.
Exactly, right? Those things feel fundamentally different on the level of being a player, right? And very few things in this game actively give you a negative that persists that you cannot remove. Gremlin Visage does.
Technically, even Gremlin Visage can be removed.
Having the as in trading it to Loth or those kinds of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Before it activates. Yeah.
If there was like you know, guaranteed in a 4.5, you'll find an event and you know Loth will turn up and eat the face and give you gain 1 strength on turn 1 or something even pitifully tiny like that. Suddenly, I'd love the event again. But the fact that it can give you an unremovable negative makes it really. There is an emotional level I'm definitely operating on there, but
yes,
it
no,
breaks
and I totally
contiguous
get that.
nature with everything.
And
in my mind.
There are some very, definite ways in which, in this, I don't mind pausing on this event at all because it's fascinating, and we play so much that it's been 2,000 hours since we've really stopped and talked about any of the events. You know? Or even talked about the lore in the events, talked about the storytelling and the dialogue in the events. This is one of my favorite events in the game. So here's a very different. Here's a very different take. Here's a very different look. In the worst case, you're trading health for gold, and it's a pretty good trade, actually. And for me right now, this is a removal, right? Is a way to think about this much gold, which is a big deal for my deck. There is one time where, as an Ascension 20 heart player, I can never take trade. And it's after the Act 2 chest, for exactly the reason you described. If you get Naloth's Hungry Mask or Naloth's Hungry Face or whatever, and you're after the Act 2 chest, there is a fair chance that you cannot go to the heart if you've not already taken the blue key. Because when you have a chest emptied by that relic, which happens 20% of the time, okay, there are 5 masks from this event, 2 positive, 2 negative, and 1 super positive. When you get Naloth's Hungry Face and it empties a chest, it also takes away the key, which is honestly something that I think could be changed. I think it would be a very, very fair and reasonable change, and this will never happen because the game is set for understandable reasons. But like as a modding consideration, I think it would be perfectly fair for the key to still be in the box, even though the relic is gone, and that would allow you to take this trade much later. But truthfully, in some ways, I think that encourages you to play well around this because the value of this trade is heavily contingent on where you get this event. Let's talk about the masks. Cultist masks make you say caw at the beginning of every fight.
Most overpowered mask in the game.
Incredibly powerful, but it has no actual in-combat effect. It's more of a psychological effect. It's an intimidation thing. 2 negative masks. 1 makes you weak on turn 1. I agree with you. Turn 1's the most important turn in the game. Front load is incredibly important, and it's important to play around. I also find that it's not that hard to play around this mask. You can often find ways to trade that in. And the answer is often, okay, well then I will just focus on powering up on turn 1. How can I take advantage of this as an excuse to make a really powerful turn 2? Right? It's not great to have the effect, but I find that I can usually play around it. There's certain runs, certain characters, like a speed run, you wouldn't want it, right?
Yeah, my emotional response to it is definitely outsized from its actual mechanical effects. But
it can be huge though.
It's the thing.
I've had runs where it would have been like death.
Yeah, I've had runs that's killed me. The thing is, I feel like in circumstances like that, for the rest of the run, 25% of my brain is thinking about, man, I wish I didn't have that Gremlin Visage. And that is enough for me.
No, joy percent is important, and it's the same thing. Some people will say, Teak, I totally understand the power of Runic Dome. I totally understand that you can use the spreadsheet, try to learn the patterns, but I just don't like it. And that's fine, because you should play. Ultimately, our goal when we play a game is not necessarily to win, it's to have fun. For some people, becoming more consistent at victory is the joy. It's the goal, right? But that's not always true, and I think it's perfectly reasonable to mod Runic Dome out if you don't enjoy it, right? Like, that's fine. Anyway, to try to wrap up my point, the other negative mask in Naloth's Hungry Face has a fairly obvious outcome. You lose another relic. Not only do you not get anything here, but you lose another relic, and you could lose your heart run if you're not careful with timing. But what are the 2 positive masks? Mask of the Cleric. Gain 1 max HP every time. Is it combat or floor?
Every combat.
It's combat, right? That's what I thought. If you get this on like floor 4, it's a super mango. Like, you are going to have so much max HP. If you get this in the beginning of Act 3, you'll be happy if you can get a strawberry out of it, right? It's still a good relic, but it's not like game breaking. The other is Mask of the Serpent. Gain 50 gold every time you visit a question mark. This is like one of the strongest relics in the game. There's no doubt in my mind that this is one of the strongest relics in the game. And if you get this in Act 1, it will very easily equate to like more than an old coin, okay? It's going to be 400 or 500 gold for you in your run. It's ridiculous. And so it's all timing, and right here toward, to most of the way through Act 1, like, I take this face trade almost every time.
I'm infinitely keen to see what you get with the face trade. Although that does bring up a good point. Not many events can trigger on all 3 floors. It seems weird to me that the face trader can, because of the fact that, if you get Gremlin Visage, you want to pivot a little bit of what you're doing in the deck If you get in Lost Hungry Face, you can have the situation you were talking about, being denied of the ability to go to the heart.
And the other two grow up over time. Act 3.
Yeah. It just seems
I'm
just
taking
weird
75 gold. Yeah, and honestly, I for what it's worth, I wanted to do it because we talked about it so much, but a lot of me thought that 75 gold was the right thing to do there, because I could afford to give up some health. That's a guaranteed amount of money, right? If you think that Mask of the Serpent happens 20% of the time, and then you might make 400 gold off of it, then you can kind of argue that taking the face trade is worth, what, 80 gold or something, right? That's 75 guaranteed gold, which will be a removal, which I need. So I think that you could have easily justified removal as play. But I kind of wanted to see what we would get, right?
Because this run becomes completely different if you get the Serpent's Mask.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And or even just Mask of the Cleric goes a long way. So I would like to try to hold out for Reaper here. And I think the way we do that is we hit you now.
Yeah, because you don't want to be weakened on the Reaper turn, but you do have the Panacea for it anyhow.
Yeah, maybe we just take the less damage and kill one of these.
Well, actually, no, because the Gremlin is going to deal 5 damage to you, and you can heal a maximum of 5 from it. So removing it.
Yeah, you're right. It just comes out the same.
Ooh, double flex Reaper. Come on.
Probably are fine.
Come on. I'm ready to see it.
Double flex is the business. So I'm in pain.
That's the Final Rex and Fleeper. Final Rex and Fleeper.
Final Rex Fleeper.
That sounds like a boss in Ratchet and Clank. That's what it does.
Yeah, it totally does. We came out ahead. Times are not bad.
Yeah.
Times are good.
Worked out. Oh,
I think I'm good on flexes. I don't think I need a third unupgraded flex. Do you want to flex?
I might want to flex, Teak.
Is that what it is?
It is.
I can get you a flex. Do I want this power through? Is the question. Because I might need this power through.
You already took the true. Wait, did you take the true grit? I didn't see it in the deck there.
I took it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just blind. Yeah.
It's so easy to miss stuff in the deck.
Yeah. And you like the second wind. Power through second wind is great with one another. Yeah.
Arguably,
it's a very dense block card. It's 1 energy to do a huge amount of block. Allows you to stay aggressive.
I think I do need to take this, or I think I get, like, I think that I struggle in Act 2 a lot if I don't take this card. I would love to take another flex, but I think I have to do this.
Are you fast and damaging enough to kill the Guardian without another defensive card like it?
No, because I can't keep going forever on the flexes, right? What's in my favor is Warp Tongs. I'll continue to upgrade.
Send it into the abyss! Oh my god, you sent me a card. I can't wait to take it.
What did you get? Show me.
Oh, if I click that, can I not unclick that? I don't know. I'm gonna play safe on that one. There we go. We just cleared the queue.
I love that it costs me 80 to send you a cultist headpiece. Like,
yeah, it's the most overpowered relic in the game, obviously.
You simply can't just give this away. Do you want or need any of my other, like, because there's a world where I send you Oddly Smooth Stone and you get it. This is really good. I'm happy to keep it, to be clear. But if we are moving in a direction of like prostrates and small 0 cost blocks, and I'm moving more towards Pogo, it could buy you a lot of ground.
Hey, if you're moving towards Pogo, what if I sent you a Dreamcatcher?
A second Dreamcatcher? And I
the
just
ability to
look at you.
Well, yeah, because like in the worst case, like a Pogo saves itself by going to a rest in the interim.
Yeah,
that
and I
gives
do have
you 2 cards while you're doing it.
That's pretty hilarious. Do they stack? We got to find out. I'll take this Dreamcatcher.
Hell yeah. I'm unlikely to use the Dreamcatcher often right now. Like, just looking at my deck, Dreamcatcher's not coming into play with me often.
You've got a lot of upgrades to do. Okay, and then I'll send you this. I mean, if you think that Oddly Smooth Stone is going to make a big impact on your run, I'll send it gladly.
It's difficult, right? Because I have got the Prostrate. I finally managed to find one of those. But a lot of our defensive factor is coming from Wallop, is coming from Mental Fortress.
Yep.
how many defensive, like, cards that say act you or block am I going to play? Is it just going to be
why
prostrate?
don't we wait then?
Yeah.
We'll see more couriers, right? I mean, it's 30 gold here. It's going to help either of us. There's no clear sign that I don't need it, and there's no clear sign that you definitely need it. So maybe it's just not worth the cost.
Yeah, I turned
Take my friggin' double dream catcher.
Hell yeah.
So is it now better to rest than to upgrade? 2 card picks is ridiculous.
Well, what would you upgrade? Let's go back across to your screen.
Yeah, let's go. You think we're done here? You feel good about this?
Oh, yeah, I've left.
I think we're done here, too.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm probably upgrading Flex, True Grit, Sword Boomerang. Reaper upgrade is better than it looks, by the way, because of the fact that it equates directly to heal and that vulnerable is in your favor, but we don't have source of vulnerable, so it's a little worse than usual now.
Mm-hmm.
This one is very much like, I see a ton of people that are like, haha, 5 damage, what a silly upgrade. And I felt the same way. And then I started taking it sometimes, and I was really surprised.
It's very far from my highest priority, but like it goes ahead of a strike. For me, at least. Man, Flex and Sword Boomerang feel like such important upgrades for you.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with the Panacea plan, like this thing needs to be 4 strength when I play it the first time, right? For it to be deeply impactful. I think we still have enough upgrade debt. And I think that if I upgraded Flex, I'm feeling much better about being allowed to take Fusion Hammer. This keeps coming up, but I do think it's really important, if you want to be a consistent player, to ask yourself, what if I never get another upgrade? Because you need to be in a position to take the energy relics. And a good one is Fusion Hammer, especially with 2 Dream Catchers. We get value from not upgrading, right? So, yeah, I think Flex. I think this is Flex.
I like it. I also think like you'll have a lot of opportunities possibly on the next floor, really depending on how it goes, to set yourself up in a position where you can get benefit not just from the HP restored by resting, but also so you're effectively just triple dipping at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
As for my upgrade over on this side, like I'm sitting between Wallop, Prostrate, probably not Prey, Flurry.
Well, you know you say that, but you have 2 Mantra cards now.
I do.
And if you get Prostrate and Prey upgraded, they're at 3 and 4. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I will never upgrade Prey, but if I was going to upgrade Prey right now, I'd just do Mantra the Prostrate instead, because this is easy to play.
Agreed. I think that any of these are very reasonable. I think that Prostrates kind of demand an upgrade. But
this
you can't really go wrong here.
Easier.
It does. It really does. It really opens you up. I'm glad you got one. I'm really excited by it, actually. So you know what? Because I played through the end of this, why don't we do yours first and then just like hold the last damage?
Sure. We'll do.
I think that'll be fine.
Oh my god, the first turn. Oh my god, the first turn. Hello, first turn. How are you? First turn. That's fast.
There's some. You have vigilance coming, okay? I was like, are we very scared? But we're not.
Yeah, I've vigilance coming, and in worst case, any attack with the fire potion sets the enemy down. I mean, I could even miracle to get the Fear No Evil out and set them to the ground right now.
Also, why was pain an option for me to send to you?
I don't know.
I don't get it. I'm so thankful that I could get a 75 gold removal of pain, but I don't really get it.
I'm glad that the option was there. You know what?
Yeah,
I think I actually will put them on the ground right now. Because what's like the super energy demanding hands that I have upcoming? Nothing, really?
Yeah, you can totally do. Sit down.
Take a load off.
I guess theoretically, this would have been a turn to have the energy to be able to play the Vigilance and the Mental Fortress, but yeah, this works.
No.
You can just sit. You have plenty of damage. You know, like you can float miracles in this run.
Thinking about getting that Prey out there, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, probably not. 16.
I thought about it.
Give me Eruption. No, that's not Eruption. It feels so weird having 2 energy a turn right now. I'm always like, and there's my 3rd end.
It'll trip you up. It'll totally trip you up, and now that you've taken the fasting, like, we crave an energy relic from this boss. But your deck is in a position to where even if you weren't offered an energy relic, that means you're being offered the non-energy boss relics, and those are pretty swanky. Like, would you take an astrolabe right now? Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes. Oh, extremely
100%.
yes. All I would need is like one of the cards that comes out of the astrolabe to be on theme for the rest of the deck, and already it puts me far ahead.
And it was great. And it's upgraded. Absolutely.
Man, Walloper's a good card.
It really is a card. And it is good. This enemy appears to be very dead.
Oh, they don't know how dead they are. This is what I was talking about. Actually, I think I said that off camera before the start of this, that I wanted to play the silent deck. I wanted to play the Watcher deck where it's the Omawa Moshinderu deck. You know the enemy's dead.
Assassin.
They don't know they're dead though. They are already dead though.
They've already died.
They're the
And
only
they're just
person
living
who
a lie.
doesn't know. Let me get into
yeah.
Divinity to finish it off.
Leave
I'll just
them on
enter
one,
Divinity
baby.
and hold though.
Leave them on one. You gotta have that music.
Boom. It's my
ready.
friend. You are extremely deceased.
Mon frere.
Mon bud.
Bye. Mon bud. I'm super thankful for this Maw Bank. I know that's not that. So this is what we don't want to see. Except that it's not that atrocious, because what do we know? We've got most of our block cards still coming up.
Yep.
And because they're both in this hand, I mean, I can do quite a lot of damage here.
It's not like
The question is, did we want to? I think I messed that up, actually. I think I should have played one of them so that I could leave them on like one here. Because now I think our hand is forced to split. But that's okay.
Yeah, that's always a weird consideration with the Guardian, is like, I want to leave you to like stun you on the turn that you're actually about to do something. It's like, you know, splitting a slime on the turn that it's about to hit you with its giant damage, right?
Exactly. I'm thinking about True Gritting here, but I don't think I want to hit Power Through quite yet. I think it would have been, I actually think it would have been probabilistically correct to just play True Grit there, but we have enough health. We don't have to worry too much.
I probably would have thrown the strike and taken the
this way.
damage.
Yeah. I have found that, especially at lower ascensions, you don't have to try to play the line. You can play pretty conservatively, and you'll probably be fine. And so, I've talked before with you off camera and on about the concept of, about two concepts that overlap, right? One of them is micro-optimality beyond victory, right?
Yep.
So if you've already won, what's the point in winning more efficiently? There is something I call lethal plus, which is like meta progression, right? Can I play this even better to where I win and I heal? I win and I gain money. But if you've already won and you're not going to take damage, every path that makes you win and not take damage is equally good by the measurement of the game, right? So no need to overthink it.
Very
and the
true.
other thing is, there's a huge difference between I'm going to sit down and play one run, and I have professionally played this game for 2,600 hours, and I'm learning that it's important to give myself brain breaks and to allow myself to just say, this will work, so that I can reserve some cycles to solve the more difficult fights.
Honestly, that's
Guardian
like a large amount of the
can be brutal.
reason. Guardian can be really rough. Getting much later on. But that, honestly, that is a lot of the reason that I find myself leaning more and more towards engine building things, because after a certain point, you've simplified it down, and this just happens. I did all of the work. This engine now sits here and it does that thing, and I almost feel like I'm plugging pieces of that engine and maybe a block core engine and a couple different things together. Kind of, I'm creating system architecture rather than the individual pieces.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of legitimacy to that playstyle, right? So, this is Sharphide. I get to demonstrate something here, actually, something pretty cool. This is Sharphide. It's not Thorns. Thorns says whenever you are hit by an attack, take damage. That means if you play Sword Boomerang, you take Thorns damage 4 times. Sharphide says whenever you play an attack, which means if you play Whirlwind on 0, you take damage. And if you play Sword Boomerang, you take damage, but the amount that you take is the same. And I think that that's just super fun. I don't need to take any more damage. It doesn't matter because I'm full healing still, right? Yeah.
Got him.
GG.
Let's
No
jump back over
problem.
the screen and send that
Oh
flurry.
my wah.
Oh.
You want to blaspheme?
We'll see. We'll see.
I think so. I think Skrull is one of the best cards in the game.
Yep.
And
I got a
hard
lot
to
of
say no
zero
to it,
costs.
but
I
yeah.
got cards I want to hit early. I got a consistent deck. I'm probably going Scroll.
Blasphemy is pretty sweet. I think that's my pick. Talk to me. What do you see? And I'll tell you why this is my pick, but I want to hear what you see.
Can we see your meta deck, please?
Absolutely, you may.
So
no
it's
removals
super
yet,
clear.
other than the pain.
It's super clear it's not Bludgeon, in my mind.
I don't think we need that. A dumb damage card like that can be useful, but I really love it in Act 1. And with Snecko Eye. I've definitely have some wins against the heart with just bludgeons and Snecko Eye.
Do you feel that this deck... I'm not asking this as a leading question, but do you feel that this deck needs to get an Energy Relic after this screen?
So, in general, I think Ironclad is pretty hungry for energy. And if the question is, what about Berserk with the Panacea? I think Berserk is a fantastic pick. And I'm really ready to be convinced that it's a better pick than Brutality. But every Ironclad deck benefits. I have not yet met an Ironclad deck that's like, I'm good on 3. Yeah. Unless it's Snecko Corruption Dead Branch, like I just don't need energy, right? And even in that case, you need some.
Back in the day before Offering took as much HP as it currently does, there were a few times I ended up in the scenario of I've just got 2 Offerings in the deck and that's enough.
That's enough. I don't really need energy. Yeah.
It's consistently rarer.
Right? And that's
also
we've talked about that before too. No, I think this Berserk is really good, and I think Berserk right now is better than ever because upgraded, it's 1 turn of vulnerable. How hard is that to line up? And to take Berserk here is to set us up to be able to take Runic Pyramid, and that is huge. And that might be so huge with this deck that it's the answer, right? We're sitting on a True Grit, we're sitting on Tongs, we're sitting on a Panacea, we're sitting on so many options. We can take Berserk in that world and line it up for free, and then still have the Panacea for the 2 flexes. My concern is that flexes kind of ask for draw. In general, draw and zero costs are buddies, right? Like you want to be able to draw more of those zero costs, and you also don't want the zero costs to feel like they have reduced the density of your hand. They're pretty low density cards, and so you want your hand to be full of good stuff to choose between. And so I love Brutality when you've got a couple flexes, because now you're seeing them more often, you're drawing through your deck more consistency, and New Rupture is nuts. That's 2 strength a turn. That's ridiculous. It's so good that I am taking things like Brutality and Combust prematurely, not just because they're good cards in their own right, but to enable the potential future Rupture. And that's what pushed me in this way, but I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, like, in my mind, Berserk is better than Brutality here, knowing the future of whether or not you're about to be offered any energy relics. So why don't we...
we can solve this problem.
Why don't we solve it? So I'm going...
If we get Runic Pyramid, I'll take Berserk, I think. I'm good with that. I think either of them are great.
The reason I don't go Blasphemy is very largely that I don't have cards like AoE cards. I don't have like actual large individual damage cards. So I feel like using it to end a fight doesn't happen as often for me right now. Whereas this is just perfect. I draw into energy. I draw into the cards that I want to set up. I've got a bunch of zero costs. I'm just happy with it.
I also feel strongly that Blasphemy is at its best when you don't have any other sources of divinity in the deck.
Yeah.
And the reason is not so much that they're fighting each other for mantra space. It's actually the opposite. It's that having divinity in your deck means you have cards like Prostrate and Pray that don't do a lot by themselves. Worship, right? They're kind of empty cards until you start playing them. And Blasphemy wants you to just have attacks. There's the friggin' Pyramid. I think I'm taking Berserk. I think so. Okay. What is this game, man?
Also, the only energy relic it offered you there was Coffee Dripper, which would have disabled 2 Dream Catchers at the same time.
That's true. which is too bad because I have the Reaper. You know, like what a time to take Coffee Dripper. That's a sick Coffee Dripper. But Runic Pyramid is really strong. Yeah.
It's exceedingly strong. Do you want to show me what's in there
take?
before I? Well, maybe this impacts my decision.
We have Large House. Team members with the lowest of each resource get a corresponding reward. And somebody pointed out last time that it doesn't seem like it necessarily always counts potions correctly. Something wicked happened to where we both got potions even though the numbers were different. So don't know. Bank error in our favor. Not gonna ask. Not really concerned. It says what it's gonna do. I trust it. 50 gold, potion, extra card draft, card removal. That would go to me. Ooh. I like me.
Get rid of the pain.
I am me. Dowsing Rod. Empty rooms now contain rewards. Rewards include gold, a card with a chance of it being colorless, and a chance at a potion or a common relic. My take, this is for more than 2 players.
Yeah.
I think this is Big House.
100%. I couldn't agree more. As soon as I saw the text of the Dowsing Rod, I was like, yeah, this is Big House.
It's very cool, but it's like I want to be with 8 players or something, you know?
Your pain removal here is incredible. Like, just worth it for that alone. And then we also get a bunch of other stuff. Over the Dowsing Rod, worth it alone.
Into your mailbox. But I'll remove more cards.
Right. Well, sorry, every card in your deck that isn't Flex or Reaper, as far as I'm concerned, is pain.
That's right. It is all just pain, really. Life is that way. Okay, so what are you going to take?
I know, right?
Are you? So I love Holy Water. I think it's quite good.
Yeah, there's no huge problem with it. The amount of times that I will end up popping all 3 of those and then playing Scroll and then just playing out a giant turn that sets us up or possibly kills
what about Pyramid?
Is a lot. Exactly. There's so much consistency to Pyramid offs. I always know that I'll have my entry. I know that I'll have my exit. I know that the Flurry of Blows is going to be in the discard. Gonna be.
Yes. You can keep it in the right place. And you might get to a point to where Watcher and Defect can so frequently get to this point to where they really don't need more than 3 energy. They really do just have a plan to have enough energy. They'll turbo and stance their way to just not needing more energy. And so there's your consistency to make that more possible, right? Waiting to play Fasting on the right turn if you just need more energy in the early game to play Powers can be pretty effective actually too.
It's also worth noting it makes Spirit Shield real good.
Yeah.
Not necessarily with this deck, with the core that I'm running.
I think you're taking Prostrates.
But yes. Spirit Shield just loves retaining every other card.
It loves to always have 10 cards. You can't really go wrong. So we just pyramid?
Yeah, with
I think Baylor
boys.
just won his pyramid ladder. That's pretty cool.
Ooh.
I know. I need to do more ladder play.
Let's do some more ladder play as we click this whole Big House situation. Whoa.
I'm offered a fruit juice. You're offered a fruit juice. We love health.
We take these. I could see myself trying to give this to you in a Courier.
Why do you get to look at so many cards?
Yeah. I got a card pick. You got a card pick. I apparently got a random upgrade. Did you get it? Wait, who got the random upgrade?
I heard an upgrade sound.
Yeah, that'll be you then. Oh, defend. Yeah, you would have upgraded that manually. Yeah. Man, I had Strike Dummy with 1 strike in the deck. Oh, I can get a 2nd strike.
That Bowling Bash was at least tempting. There's
actually the first Prostrate was also taken over a Bowling Bash.
Really? I love Bowling Bash a lot. Are you gonna take this collect?
Yeah. I think I will.
It's kind of an energy relic almost.
And it's Miracle Pluses by base anyway.
Yeah. Do I want a 2nd Sword Boomerang? Just for the sake of consistency?
Or do you maybe want a Twin Strike for consistency in a single target? Collector
I should care
and
more about
the
this.
Gremlin leader next floor?
The reason that I think it's still Swordarang is because when that is upgraded, it gets twice as much value out of the fact that this deck is only 2 Flex Pluses. But I do think I underpick Twin Strike. Now, if I somehow found that Strike Dummy, and maybe I'm about to.
You could. There's no reason for me to continue holding it. Although, is your priority removal strikes right now?
Yeah, and actually this Wild Strike is ready to go because the wounds are active trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Until we find something to do with them, right? Until we find, that second wind or whatever, as noted.
Mm-hmm. Or upgraded True Grit.
We could just skip here, but I think I am gonna take one more Sword Orang, because then I can just play the 2 flexes on the turn and line it up. Do you drop Liquid Bronze here?
No, you don't. I don't think. Birds.
I think birds are okay because they're not 4 hits yet.
Oh yeah, so you'll actually be able to put them down on the ground.
Pretty consistently.
Okay.
At 4 hits, then all of a sudden I'm like,
against them.
Yeah. I think I'm more concerned about the elites, and I think these are better answers to the elites.
Yes, definitely true.
Including Book of Stabbing. I think Ascension 20 though, you're right. I think Ascension 20 I might be dropping like the Fire Pot to hold the Liquid Bronze.
Yeah, go for it. I will try and get this fruited juice across
Where did
to
time
you.
go? We were done with Act 1 in like 15 minutes, and somehow it's been an hour. Excuse me? Did we go through the portal?
Time dilates when you're having fun?
I think it's because we spent 20 minutes talking about Face Trader.
Almost
but
certainly.
that's worth it.
Oh, I
that's
wouldn't
its
have
own
taken
episode.
it back. I was deeply interested to hear the bated breath and then the okay. Well, I feel the complete opposite. It's like, oh man, it's the same moment of when you were describing the randomness in Fuzz Force recently, and I was like, I don't. Wow, this is fundamentally different in my mind.
No, but the thing is that made it so fun for me to listen because I knew that where I was. And now I'm getting to hear something very different, and I like firmly agree. What you talked about was a pathos element. So yeah, I love listening to people talk about stuff like that. Absolutely.
So do I, and I hope you all enjoyed it as well. There is going to be a link, I don't know, somewhere. Maybe it's on screen. Maybe it's in the description down below to the next episode, to the Act 2, and we'll see you then for that.